That's why we're kicking off the Error Checking Community, or ECC Squad.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Is this Twitter community notes? We've heard the problems you guys have with our content. And boy, do I have an answer for you. You fix it. It's not torture. Look, they used the toilet. Look at all these pictures of turds people took in the toilet all day. Let me just hammer this down and then we'll look at what Linus Tech Tips are doing. I strongly suspect that Madison is not mentioned, but some of the things that are mentioned make me laugh. Here's the plan. It's weird that Linus is the face of this because they had the CEO. They had lots of people in the previous video where there was about what do we do next? Where does it go next? But the CEO was the intro and he was the main guy, and it seemed like, oh, the real boss. He's come in, he's gonna fix it. They're pulling attention off of Linus. They're spreading it out. Now I think this is just Linus. I honestly don't know or get why they'd switch to just Linus for this. It's weird. Did they decide that the previous video didn't perform as well in terms of affecting people's attitudes or what? I don't know.
It's been a long time since my boss called me into their office and gave me a stern talking to. It wasn't easy, and I had it coming. But the good news is that most of what the boss, that's you, is asking for has been underway for months.
Yeah, he's the face of the brand, obviously. It's Linus Tech Tips, Linus Media Group, and everyone's anger was primarily detected at them. But they went with the strategy, ostensibly, of dissipating it by making sure it had everyone's face alongside his, and making sure everyone was featured, and he was just one part. And now did they decide that was the wrong move, or
in some cases even years? That most of what the boss, that's you, is asking for has been underway for months, or in some cases even years.
So everyone who watched and commented is dumb because they're already doing it. It's already underway. The mistakes, are you stupid? The mistakes and issues? You're dumb. You're dumb. We're actually fixing everything already, you idiot.
That's why we're under new management. But as happy as I am that Terran's here, he can't make these kinds of changes alone, which is why step 1 was an all-hands meeting to hear directly from everyone on our team, and step 2 was
which is why step 1 was to funnel all of our employees into a saw-like trap. As you see blood spraying across the screen in that footage. I giveth also my movie Bob senses were bizarrely tingling. You mean the guy in the middle drinking from the thermos, yes?
From everyone on our team. And step 2 was to kick off an unprecedented company-wide period of introspection. No videos.
Why does that sound like a religious company-wide period of introspection? Sounds like something a monk's cloister would call.
No tweets, no product launches. For an entire week, we have done almost nothing but dig through every misstep and conduct face-to-face meetings.
Does seem true. They didn't really put anything out. Yes, that is true, Zera. That is true. They are able to do the switcheroo without telling you that there's been a switcheroo. They could try. What an incredible power. They could put out a video that says one thing and then switch it later, so long as no one had an archive of it. That would be pretty sick. Oh, they're done with the apologies, Todd. It makes sense that there wouldn't be any apology in this. No tweets. Madison is free. It's coming back with a vengeance. They're getting an entire team of people, and they have to do 6 tweets each. It's basically genocide.
Between our teams with the goal of surfacing the communication and the teamwork challenges that have brought us to this point. It's been a bit of a roller coaster full of passionate disagreement, and then finding common ground, airing grievances, and then reconciliation. But
I have never worked in a corporate environment. I have never been a higher up above other people, managing people in a corporate environment. To me, as a layperson in managing these issues, it seems insane that this is the solution to publishing inaccurate test data. Am I wrong? This doesn't seem like a remedy that should occur like this. It's very weird to me.
Through it all, we put together a plan. It took longer than the week that we promised you, but the way that I see it, that's not a bug. That's a feature, and it underscores our new commitment to do whatever it takes to move beyond just entertainment to become the authoritative voice that you guys deserve and the one that we all want to be. Before I lay it out, though, I just want to address...
It is funny, Shadow Ryu. We're just trying... Oh, we've been spending this whole week, we've been trying to squeeze it out of the workers. Why? Why did things go wrong? Why? When they already have a video they published themselves of everyone going, we're pushed to go too fucking fast. Which they acknowledge, or which Linus is acknowledging, that they're changing their strategy. They're willing to take time. But it's like, yeah, it does seem like that was a huge part of it, right?
Two important groups. First, to everyone who wanted to see us rise up from this better than ever, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing our passion for technology. Thank you for the countless messages that you guys have sent.
Passion for technology with a golden Xbox controller? Please.
Encouraging us as we navigate this difficult time. And most of all, thank you for being willing to criticize something that you love in order to make...
I think too many people are failing to recognize just how big of a step shutting down production for over a week is for a company. It's a media group. They're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per week that they are down. I don't know any other company that would shut down like this just to improve their quality. I mean, I work for a Fortune 100 company. Right. What if they believed that the alternative was everything collapsing? Sure, Umpty. If we didn't also have other information, and isn't the lab meant to be, damn, we're slick, we're smooth, we've got this in place to do these tests. Additionally, we have the individual example of Linus literally just not caring, wanting to get that block video out. Obviously, that's one example. That's one major example. But given the examples we have, given that they're supposed to have this lab that's great, given that we have employees talking about how the reason it gets out, right? The process being inefficient doesn't force them to publish shit that's wrong. What forces them to publish shit that's wrong is the push to just get it out, and that also is what prevents them from analyzing process, or prevented them previously.
Make it better. We're here for you. We are not going anywhere. Second,
saying it's the process is a cope because it ignores that the pressure to just pump things out is a major element of what would prevent them from looking at that, and the process being fucked doesn't force them to press go on something they know is wrong.
I want to address everyone who wanted to see us fail. I guess all the same stuff. We're here for you, we're not going anywhere, and you're going to have to deal with that. Let's kick off with the content reforms then, shall we?
Why is he talking like a female celebrity who got called fat? Or told to stop and that they don't belong there?
For starters, along with our reduction in video output to get a handle on all of our new quality-focused process changes, we have officially killed the haven't missed an upload in 10 plus years mentality, and we've made it explicitly clear that if a video is not ready for prime time, we're going to stop the presses until we've had a chance to make the proper fixes. Now, that might...
There. That's number one. That's it. That's like, that should have had this promise should have had a gigantic spotlight on it. Said like that, pretty much, there.
Sometimes come in the form of an on-screen correction.
Oh.
But there's going to be better transparency. We've created a clear rubric that defines error severity and prescribes the appropriate fix, which can range from a pinned comment to...
Fair enough. Very low severity if the statement could possibly be misunderstood. I guess. Any of the following types of errors are discovered prior to filming. Fix them before the shoot. Yes. Naturally, if the shoot has already occurred, no action if it's just a statement that could be misunderstood but is technically true. Pinned comment if there is an incorrect statement that they should try to clarify better in future. But you can leave it for now because it doesn't meaningfully impact a viewer's purchase decision or general knowledge. Considering a major issue pointed out by Gamers Nexus is that, at the very least, Linus's judgment when it comes to what meaningfully impacts the general knowledge of the audience, considering that that's been called into question, that judgment, this isn't so great.
Full reshoot, or even the outright cancellation of the video. You're going to find that linked down below. Second, we've made significant changes to project management and load balancing with a prioritization on in-person meetings to help define project scope and ensure that everyone is aligned. Our expectation going forward is that nobody is ever just making graphs about something that hasn't been explained to them or that they don't fully understand. This will not only improve accuracy, but it will give us the opportunity to present data in more interesting and more digestible ways. I've actually got a preview of what this might look like from an upcoming video that the labs team is super proud of, where they're analyzing the consistency of performance across a 12-unit sampling of what are supposedly identical AMD Ryzen processors.
Is he saying this is coming out of in-person meetings? I'm confused. Why would a focus on in-person meetings do that?
Going forward is that nobody is ever just project management and load balancing with a prioritization on in-person meetings to help define project scope and ensure that everyone is aligned. Our expectation going forward is that nobody is ever just making graphs about something that hasn't been explained to them or that they don't fully understand. This will not only improve accuracy, but it will give us the opportunity to present data in more interesting and more digestible ways. I've actually got a preview of what this might look like from an upcoming video that the labs team is super proud of, where they're analyzing the consistency of performance across a 12-unit sampling of what are supposedly identical AMD Ryzen processors. Based on these preliminary results, it looks like you can buy the exact same computer as your friend and end up with pretty different performance.
Oh! Okay. In-person meetings are hypothetically one way to fix that. Idea being, you're never going to struggle to get an explanation from a higher up of what you're meant to do. If there's dedicated time to talk about X, Y, or Z thing, you can get your answers, you can put out your questions. Okay, in-person meetings could be a fix. If the problem, though, isn't about people getting the attention they need, having the avenue to ask they need, which could happen without in-person meetings, obviously. If there's a problem more fundamentally with individuals, like a higher up who doesn't explain things right, or there's a problem with someone below, that might not fix it, but also it will become obvious when that happens. But if it's a higher up who's a problem, I don't know, would that get caught or figured out? True, Shadowryu. Like bitching about mouse friction and then doubling down. Yeah, my faith is low based on the information we know external to this video that in-person is all they need to fix it. A lot of times, maybe in-person would fix it, just making sure people have the committed amount of time in person, face-to-face, no distraction, get the answers you need. That would fix it for a lot of people. For this, I think things might be too screwy on a finer level, but who knows.
Interesting if true. Of course, I'm not going to ask you to take my word for it. We have a lot of progress to make on our goal of publishing our full testing methodologies, but we've opened up the forum thread that we promised soliciting feedback, and we've outlined the dates that we're expecting to deliver on some of our methodologies and the open sourcing of our in-game testing harnesses. For those who
I'm not a tech lord. That's probably good, though. I will have to hear from someone like Gamers Nexus, if that's any good.
Who don't want to click the link, you can expect to find some updates around the middle of September. A good methodology is only a small part of the battle, though, and if there's one thing that we learned from all of this, it's that we need better processes for accuracy checking. The good news is that flowcharts are good for more than just memes, and we have just such a process now. Every video with labs testing will be checked by labs 1 to 2 times before shooting, and then an additional time after the video has been edited. Any show-stopping issues found during these reviews will do exactly that. They will stop the show. You guys deserve better than what we've delivered up until this time, and that's what we want to give you.
Good. They should have been talking like this. Not good, I deserve better. What I mean is, good, you should have been talking like this. Don't say, we're going to fix our credibility with this. Ugh. Talk about what people deserve. Talk about how it would be wrong to mislead people. They have a responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Say things that build credibility. Don't say you're trying to build credibility.
After our internal reviews this week, we have unlisted and demonetized multiple videos that contained erroneous data, and we will be updating or otherwise issuing error corrections on others. You'll find a link to a summary of these changes to previous labs content down below, but our priority going forward is to publish our error corrections according to the new guidelines that I gave you guys a moment ago. One problem that we can't solve internally is that no...
Let me double check. Shit, it's just a bunch of Linus Tech Tips links. Okay, let's see this in a little bit more detail. Types of errors: flubs, incongruencies, bad spec, bad data, bad info. Proactive: before the video is posted. Reactive stuff: they can replace the video with a new version without re-uploading. Okay, this relies on YouTube and takes time. Sure. Here, assessing and responding to errors. The low severity one is something that could possibly be misunderstood. Sure. Low severity, which will trigger a pinned comment. So very low severity, they'll take no action. If there's like a slight potential ambiguity said. It's not the end of the world. Low severity gets a pinned comment. If the statement is incorrect, then they should try to clarify it better in the future, but leaving it for now in that one instance doesn't meaningfully impact a viewer's purchase decision or general knowledge. Their assessment is questionable, in my opinion, based on what Gamers Nexus showed us and based on their past behavior. Medium severity. For medium severity, a video will be replaced if possible, and if not possible, they'll put up a pinned comment and an above-the-fold mention of the issue in the video description. This is if the statement is incorrect and a minority of the audience could be upset or misled, even if it doesn't really affect the outcome of the product evaluation for the majority. If they say something that is wrong and it could mislead people, then maybe they'll replace it, otherwise they'll put a pinned comment. That's not great, in my opinion. Because this is two layers of trust their judgment. High severity. High severity, they replace the video if possible according to YouTube policy. Otherwise, they set unlisted and disable monetization until corrective action can be taken. I don't think the monetization being disabled is necessary, but unlisted, sure. Unlisted and probably alter the title. Alter the title to make sure anyone with access to it. So if it's unlisted, that means if someone's linked to it, that link's still going to be there, and they might not necessarily be aware that there's something wrong in it where they're viewing it embedded. Right? Probably also change the title or something. Or even make it private, but I get that you'd want it unlisted for the sake of transparency so people can still see your mistakes. It's a hard balance, but I'd say probably change the title as well to make sure anywhere it's been embedded, people can see that there's an issue with it. High severity. The statement is incorrect and a significant portion of the audience could be misled or make a poorly informed purchase decision. Right. Very high severity. To get a video removed or remade, the statement has to be very incorrect, basically the opposite of correct. And there has to be no charitable interpretation that could make this anything but completely irresponsible. To me, that's a weird qualification. That's a weird qualification when you're talking about the impact of information you're putting out. What if someone was responsible and there was a mistake outside of their control that made them say something insanely wrong? Or let's say somehow something insane happened that resulted in a video going out that said stuff that was very incorrect, and there was nothing anyone could do. That should still be removed or remade, right? But it's also not completely irresponsible if it's unavoidable. I don't know, weird. Still weird. The strangest thing about this is, I don't know, how much of what Gamers Nexus pointed out would have been dealt with differently under these standards than the whatever they felt like standards. How different would what Gamers Nexus pointed out look under this? Yeah, they've formalized the implicit standards that were pointed out as not being good enough. Okay.
Nobody can know everything, and even experts can make mistakes. That's why we're kicking off the Error Checking Community, or ECC
Oh
squad.
no. Oh no. Oh no. Is this... Oh no. Is this Twitter community notes?
It's still in the alpha stage right now, with a group of fewer than 10 extremely knowledgeable community members, and we may or we may not ever expand it beyond that. But we are going to have a link down below if you're interested in hearing more about this program in the event.
Error Checking Community Squad submission form. The Error Checking Community Squad, nice line break. ECC Squad is a crowdsourced fact. Can I submit that as an error, as an issue? Is a crowdsourced fact-checking program that we are implementing at Linus Media Group. This form is a geek resume of sorts to fill out if you're interested in participating in the ECC Squad. We've heard the problems you guys have with our content, and boy, do I have an answer for you. You fix it. Wow, nice. How much do I get paid? The goal with the ECC Squad is not for us to shirk our responsibility for providing content to our audience that is as factual as it is fun, but rather to create a system that acts as a last line of defense if our internal processes fail. There's that. Okay? This, surely, could contribute to catching mistakes. Yes. But, with how much community is referred to here, with how much people seem to buy into community, who are fans of Linus Tech Tips, this feels a bit like putting community skin in the game. Because I imagine people within the community, if something goes wrong, there will be people saying, look, the community's responsible as well. I don't like those seeds. I don't like those seeds. Our goal in the long term is for our content to be accurate enough out of the gate that this pretty much turns into free early access for the ECC Squad. That's a good thing to say, but we recognize that we have a lot of work to do to get to that point. The level of access to information, I have a strong suspicion it's going to be early access with the expectation of commentary. Yeah, that it is sourced from their community. I feel that it is more about this element of the safeguard is sourced from the community than it is about the function those members perform.
That we roll it out more broadly. In the short term, as we roll out all our new processes and inevitably find some wrinkles, these folks might find stuff that does get missed. But in the longer term, our goal is to have our internal systems be so solid that the ECC Squad pretty much turns into a free early access group for subject matter experts in our community.
Wow, really? Really? You doing work for us for free? It's just gonna turn into you bypassing like a Patreon early access feature or something, man. It's really just all upside for you. You're getting paid with this treat.
With the odd, actually, to help us do better. Now, something I want to be clear about is that you are still going to see some ad hoc, less formal testing. I mean, we've got a video coming up where I'm fixing my computer and I run over to Lucas in the lab to help diagnose a dead power supply.
Sure.
We're going to conduct quick and dirty tests where we just take 2 laptops and press buttons and see how long it takes to open an application.
Yes.
Sometimes the full treatment isn't necessary, but we're going to make sure that we are clearly communicating that to you.
So, what comes to mind immediately? Yes, if they're doing a silly thing where it's like, my shit isn't giving me what I want. Do a quick test, quick, why isn't this working? It's almost like a skit, like a bit, with a crumb of actual testing. It's fine, whatever. However, what comes to mind immediately for me is, their judgment is in question. They're trying to say it's all about the processes, all about the behind the scenes. But to me, the Gamers Nexus video brought questions of people with executive power, brought the judgment of certain people with executive power into question. For example, Linus made it very clear that he believed that copper cooling block, whatever it was, didn't require the full suite of testing and just required the scuffed one. He did make it very clear that he thought it didn't need it. How would this standard have prevented, for example, the copper block debacle?
Finally, recognizing that improvement is a journey, not a
Obviously, that was a bit. Them fucking around with the block, or Linus fucking around with the block, was meant to be a bit silly. Sure, him in the talk with the employee or whatever, their show they do, him saying it didn't matter because it wouldn't affect anything anyway, that standard is their standard going forward now to decide if they fix shit that's wrong. He's talking about going forward, we'll make it obvious if it's this or that. We'll make it transparent which way we're going, whether we're going to do, whether it's meant to be a full test or not. Well, they did. They already do that. We've seen an example. Maybe there's more, but they're not giving me an example, and I haven't seen examples of where else that would matter.
Destination, we're using our newfound time to run weekly writing team postmortems to identify the areas where we're killing it and the ones where we're really not. Our findings will be used to both improve accuracy and also the quality of our content. Moving on to the business side of things, there's not much changing here except more transparency. And that's actually a common theme throughout all of this. We've recognized many of our biggest areas for improvement for years. I mean, that's why we have the sponsor complaint thread on the forum, for example, which we've now committed to providing weekly updates on. And that's why we had our internal sponsorship guidelines, which now you will find linked down below, available in public.
Guidelines for sponsored content is a very good move, for sure.
We brought in an experienced manager, Taryn, who is off-site this week, or I would have brought him in to chat with you guys as well. There are some other changes we've committed to and followed through on, providing more proactive information to our team during crisis time. We've built out a clear schedule for one-on-ones between team members and managers, and we've established a path to reducing the number of direct reports for each manager, and a bunch of other stuff that we're going to continue to work on in the background.
I bet that's going to be fun for the people working there. Nice.
I do think one of the most pressing things that you guys want to hear about, though, is that we have revised our process for item tracking to a heartbeat system that requires our procurement team to follow up pending projects and update their status. They didn't do anything wrong before, but this should help to avoid any confusion going
for the things they're shipping out
forward around items that start out as we don't need it back and then turn into a loan later on. I do not want to see something accidentally end up in the Christmas party pile or...
Oh, for items they receive to cover, or... Okay, for stuff they're given. I was confused.
Any other don't need it anymore pile again. Now, let's talk about our workplace culture. We offer a solid benefits package, including extended health, mental health, and...
Okay, who was talking about this? Okay, wait. The Gamers Nexus video talked about people being pushed too hard. Apart from that, who talked about it? The lady, says Wingwinder. Yeah. Is this the fucking Madison section? Like, why is this in here? Who cared? Who gave a fuck about the well-being of the employees? Yeah, Shadow Ryu, I agree. Even if it's for charity, even if you're auctioning for charity, that has a hard-to-measure benefit to you in business terms. That is PR. Benefit. Obviously not if you do it the way they did and it fucks up and backfires because you sold something for charity that you weren't supposed to sell, that you agreed not to sell. But raising money for charity, yes, good guy points. I agree with that way of putting it. If you're getting good guy points off of the products businesses have sent you, I think that creates the appearance of impropriety. Personally, the bigger a thing they send you, the more good boy points you get. If you're selling that, it's the shit you're getting, that's more obvious and worse, and you can put a direct number on how much that benefits you. But even auctioning it for charity, I think, is suspect.
Dental coverage, as well as retirement savings contributions and matching. We proactively host regular team building events, including Summer of Fun, which gives every full-time
I don't care
up to $300 to spend on any activities they want with other members of our team. Bi-weekly gaming nights in the lounge.
So this already existed as well, so this wouldn't even hypothetically change things.
Free food, weekly badminton nights, bi-weekly softball nights, and a quarterly budget for department-wide team building events. We organize occasional surprise field trips where people are paid to have fun together, and our Christmas parties are legendary, with surprise bonuses that over the years have...
Why do I care? Why do I care? This is the Madison response. This isn't anything that's going to change or fix anything. No one was really talking about this apart from people being pressured to pump stuff out when it wasn't ready or it was wrong. The only person talking about how bad the environment was Madison and the people who saw what Madison said. I'm going to treat this, for now, as the Madison response. You think they think people will be scared to apply for jobs, scared to go work there because they think it's a company that's just going to grind them into dust, like a Japanese black company? Maybe.
Included free laptops, wild raffle prize hauls, and $10,000 in bonus money per person, not once, but twice on that last one. And while we don't make a point of talking about that stuff much, and while our intention was never to publish our findings, earlier this year, we also asked our HR team to conduct one-on-one meetings company-wide to identify key issues and do a temperature check to see how everyone was feeling.
Who's HR in this instance? Wait, let me hear that more clearly.
Earlier this year, we also asked our HR team to conduct one-on-one meetings company-wide.
He means the third-party HR, yes? He doesn't mean I asked my wife.
To identify key issues and do a temperature check to see how everyone was feeling. Our communication internally about the actions we've taken, based on the surveys, hasn't been perfect. We've gotten some feedback that the Monday morning meeting notes are dense and hard to parse. But in June, we laid out a roadmap for many of the improvements that we had already made or planned to make based on the one-on-ones. Now, for those of you paying very close attention, you probably heard me mention our HR team, which isn't consistent with...
Look, we've got it, Ashrad. We've got it now. He's explaining.
The impression that many people seem to have of our structure here. A portion of our community seems to think that the only option to report grievances here is to your boss or to your other boss. And I just don't...
Did he just struggle to not say your boss's wife? I saw the cogs turning, bro.
I don't really know what to say other than that is simply not the case. There was a time when we were very small, and yes, I did handle all the HR complaints.
You should have said, and yes, I still am very small.
That was years ago, and the same is true for Yvonne. In 2018, we passed 25 employees and we engaged an outside HR counsel to advise us on what we were doing right and what could be done better. In 2020, we grew to 40 team members and we brought in an outside HR firm, making them available to all employees if they needed to talk to them.
Why do I know this, but the viewers don't?
This was on top of the usual recommended conflict resolution steps of discussing your issue with the other person, talking to your manager, talking to their manager, talking to ownership, or filling out an anonymous feedback.
Right. Oh, and he's demonstrating that it's in line with what the third-party firm recommends. This is good. This is good for him to show, because now it's not just that their guidelines seem okay, it's not his guidelines. It's the guidelines that the third party, the outside HR firm, agree on and say is typical.
Then, as we approached 100 team members, we added a dedicated in-house HR department with the goal of providing even more resources to our team.
Oh, I know HR is normally like a garbage nightmare hell, where either from listening to people who work in environments that involve an HR department, they're the team where you fear someone complaining to them because who knows how they'll respond, and you fear having to use them because who knows whether you'll get help or not or get screwed. That is my interpretation of what I've heard from people.
To be clear, Yvonne and I do both still have an open door policy, so team members do still have the option of talking to us directly if that's their preference. And
they should set up an arena and have blood duels. Have you been watching Dead Man Wonderland?
Don't know how to emphasize this enough. Everything that I just talked about existed before last week. This is not some kind of knee-jerk, reactionary corpo.
This is a fucking Madison response. This is the Madison response, but they're too scared to say Madison. This is countering people saying, oh, but they only implemented this when Madison spoke out. And he's sort of preempting that by saying, this has been the case for years. We've had an HR department. What from Gamers Nexus or the general response would trigger this section? I don't think there's anything there. This is the Madison response.
Oh, nonsense.
Also reactionary, yeah. Well, just train people to at least say reactive, please. Reactive is kind of not a real word either. Not meant to be used there, but just say reactive instead of reactionary, okay? Please, for the love of God.
One exception, the one new thing, is the emergency upgrade that we made to our health plan.
This is the because Madison was a crazy bitch section.
In recent weeks, a shocking number of our team members have been harassed, bullied, and even threatened on social media.
Why did you do it then, Linus? Just don't do it. Get it?
So, effective September 2023, we have doubled our coverage for mental health counseling. And all I have to say, other than that, is that if you're one of the people who engaged in this behavior, I refuse to refer to you as members of our community. You know who you are, and shame on you. Not one of our team members deserved that.
We've doubled the budget, doubled the coverage for mental health issues. Let me just say something insanely parasocial. Also, they need it because you've been abusing. Just you are cast out of the community. The community does not welcome you. This is pantomime. This is pantomime. It's like a promise of purity to the community. You're not among these people. I think it would mentally fuck me up if my boss was like, yeah, I saw people saying nasty things to you online, so I doubled the mental health coverage. I think that would be a severe mental blow to me.
We have a zero tolerance policy for any of that crap, and we always have. Regarding our workload, we work hard here. I've never denied that. But we also aren't running some kind of deranged Twitter 2.0 ultra hardcore operation.
Okay, Shadow Ryu, I think you're right. It's a we are not a black company that will burn you until you die. Burn you at both ends until you die.
This is the morning and night surveillance footage of our parking lot at the studio for 5 workdays leading up to our week of introspection.
What?
We offer some flexibility around start and end times, so you'll see that some people roll in starting around 8:30, and then, as you can see, the ones who arrive later are typically...
True, I mean, sure, all our employees complain, but what are you gonna do? Not wrong. Honestly, this is bizarre to me. I get what he's saying. I get he's trying to show proof. This is fucking bizarre. This would be like, you hear our employees complaining about being worked too hard, but I mean, it's not torture. Look, they use the toilet. Look at all these pictures of turds people took in the toilet all day. Just weird.
Gone by around 6:30. There are exceptions. That Friday, you'll see, we were filming up until the WAN show. Thanks, guys. Also, our cleaning contractors come in after hours. That's their van, so that they don't disrupt production. And sometimes folks will stick around if they need a big space for tabletop gaming.
This is really weird. Man, there's been a huge uptick, okay, in people behaving really strangely towards our staff. They feel threatened, it's impacting their mental health. So we've doubled mental health resources. Hey, do you want to see their cars and get some information about when they come into work and leave work? It's I don't know, dude. Hey, someone's been threatening to kill our workers. Do you want to see what color their cars are and probably be able to tell what make and model?
But to characterize our environment as some kind of 24/7 sweatshop is frankly ridiculous. We also do work overtime sometimes. We're in a competitive industry. It happens, and I've never denied that either. But we care about our team, and I think this is reflected both in our commitment to cut content moving forward until we get our house in order, and in our historical turnover rate. From 2013 to 2023 inclusive, our average turnover rate was 7.5% with a...
Yeah, but to be fair, you do lock your employees in a cage for the first 2 years they work with you, and the reason they don't leave after that is Stockholm Syndrome. So...
a median value of 7.7. Those numbers include both people who resigned their positions and people who were dismissed. For context, according to workforce research firm Mercer, the Canadian average is 18%, while in the US it's around 20%. We have had 2 years over that span that were less than exemplary, but even then, we were lower than average.
Yeah, it was about the workers being rushed. Wingwinder, you're correct. The problem that was pointed out was the workers talking about being rushed to move on to the next thing and not spending enough time on any individual thing, right? It wasn't like, oh, there are mistakes happening because the workers are overworked and burnt out. It's because they rush them forward. Yeah.
Removing the people who were dismissed.
However, Wingwinder, people were saying the employees are working too hard. Or rather, one specific person was. I feel like mixed up in this video is the response to Madison. I think that is blended in. I think it's correct that they're trying to fight any image that they work people too hard, you know, that might put off potential fresh blood or whatever, or might make people not like them. But I think mixed in there is the Madison response. And what Madison said was an insane amount of work was expected from them. They were overworked. That she had to make 3 tweets a day.
Missed from their positions, we fall to 3.65% average, 1.9% median. Being a media company, our departures are a little louder than most, but in the grand scheme of things, I hope you guys can see that the...
Holy fuck. I guess they mentioned Madison.
Being a media company, our departures are a little louder than most, but in the grand scheme of things, I hope you guys can see that the numbers show there really aren't that many of them.
She's just a crazy hoe.
But with that said, we have heard you. As part of our unwavering commitment to improve, our turnover may rise as we take decisive steps to do better for you.
Yo, yes. This last minute is the based minute. Madison's just insane and noisy. People don't really have problems. Also, we're going to start fucking firing more people. Very based.
To be clear, this is not supposed to be stressful for the hardworking members of our team. We have no plans for layoffs. We're even still hiring. Our rainy day fund is going to comfortably carry us through this storm. The vast majority of this team is world-class. They care so much about our community and igniting passion for technology, and they are going to be here for you.
They should lean into just being an insane asshole company. Lean into being an insane asshole company and I'll back them. Okay. Alright? Lean into it. Also, what Shadow Ryu said is true. Of course. People not leaving doesn't mean that there aren't massive problems. It can still be unacceptable, while the alternative is even worse than something that's unacceptable. However, it's funny that that's how he decided to shit on Madison. For every 5 framework laptops purchased, an employee's leg will be cut open. With a framework laptop's chassis. What are people saying in the comments? Good to have you back. Happy to hear about the commitment to improved accuracy. I think Linus Tech Tips needs a new channel. Linus Business Tips. Linus, if they complain, there will be pain. Tech Tips. Now this is so much better. What, better than the tantrum post, the scuffed Captain Planet response where everyone was in the video? The Twitter comment on what Madison said? What the fuck? The way to look at this is as a piece of media. How well is he presenting himself to other people so as to engender trust? It's fucking me up that this is being taken at face value. I can't stand it, dude. Haven't visited your channel for quite some time, but I am thankful for the tips you've given. Oh no! Especially when I was researching for my cheap PC build. Not a techie guy, so your channel made it easier for me. This person doesn't even know what the fuck is going on. This guy doesn't know what's happening. My power supply exploded, but I'm sure that's not your fault. Something I'd like to see moving forward is a distinction between labs-approved content and all the other. Good comment. Good suggestion for them, I think. Did I see the post in Discord about Trump being an alpha rapist? What do you mean? Oh. Oh. Deborah Messing defends, saying she hopes Trump is the most popular boyfriend in prison. Posts The Hill. Someone on Twitter called Kale Humbug responds, the fact that there is rape in prison is a huge problem. A powerful rapist like Trump could easily end up being the one raping other men in prison. No one should be allowed to rape anyone. It's not cute or funny to say this shit. It's really funny to say, careful what you wish for, maybe he'll do the raping. That's actually really funny. You're wrong. That's super funny. I'm just saying it. We missed you. Actually, you guys inspired me to become a computer engineer. I discovered I had an interest in this, and I'm starting off experimenting things. Thank you, Linus. Usain Bolt, 8827. You are 8 years old. Let me see if you have any videos. Send this to someone who doesn't watch Black Clover. They have a bunch of anime music videos on their profile. They joined YouTube on 15th July 2021. The most potent and just justification for abusive behavior, in my opinion, is if it's really funny. In which case it's a sacrifice for art. Timothy Shining Bright. Haven't been on your channel in a long time, but that dome is just beautiful. Shadow Stepper with the good comment.